Last fall, Ottawa promised to phase out solitary confinement in Canadian prisons. Now, a government-appointed panel tasked with making sure it happened says it was blocked from doing its job at every turn. It accuses the Correctional Service of not providing critical data and the minister in charge of ignoring calls. Abigail Bimman explains.
2 years in my life was spent in solitary. The longest straight time was about 4 to 5 months.
Lee Chappelle knows what it's like to spend 23 hours a day in a cell.
I felt like I was in sound mind when I went into solitary, but within a month you just start losing a lot of social skills, and upon release from solitary it's a real challenge adapting to even being in an institution in mainstream population.
He was supportive of the government's move to replace solitary confinement with structured intervention units, which would ensure at least 4 hours a day outside the cell with 2 hours of meaningful human contact. He calls the latest news unfortunate. The Independent Advisory Panel's report is blunt and damning. Very simply, this panel has not been allowed to do its work. The panel first asked for data in November 2019. It took 6 months to get some, but it was incomplete, unspecified, and nearly impossible to use. And then we were told for the first time 9 months after requesting systematic data on the operation of the structured intervention units that the data do not exist. In March, they reached out to Public Safety Minister Bill Blair, but never heard back. In its August 14th response, Correctional Service Canada acknowledged the information they provided did not yield the expected quality and committed to monthly updates, knowing the panel's one-year term is up.
The concerns brought forward by the panel, of course, are things that we're taking seriously. I know Minister Blair and Corrections Canada are engaging on this issue.
What the report reveals is that Corrections does not feel it needs to follow the law.
How long inmates spend in their cell is one example of data the panel requested. Longtime prisoner advocate and Senator Kim Pate says that's exactly the kind of information Corrections needs to collect itself.
The only choice we have now is to ensure that we have external oversight and preferably judicial oversight.
Pate says if the government doesn't take action, the courts will. There are several cases underway, some in connection to COVID-19. And this week, the Ontario Human Rights Commission filed a motion to hold that province accountable, saying it's failing to meet its legal obligation to keep prisoners with mental health issues out of segregation. The motion alleges Ontario also failed to implement a system to accurately track segregation. Abigail Bimman, Global News, Ottawa.